Peter,
Yes, sir.
what country were you working with? Was it male or female? What age group? And just tell me how you connected with that South American country to get involved coaching. And I believe it's female hockey. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So it's Team Puerto Rico. So that's involved with the U.S. as well, right? Because it's Puerto Rico, and it's the Division 1 team, which is for lack of a better way to put it. I mean, you know how international works. You could have someone who's 18 on the team and someone who's 30. So it's the team that's being built to hopefully be able to get to the point where they can compete in pool play in the IIHF and begin to earn spots in that so that they can get themselves to compete for Olympic medals down the road. And how I got involved was their head coach is an individual who also does a lot of team building and some sports psychology. And I met him actually through a mutual friend, Mike Benelli, when my team, when we were going through COVID. So that was what, 4 or 5 years ago now. And he does a lot, he does podcasts and that. So I've guested on his podcast several times, um, struck up a friendship. And when he got the job as the head coach for Team Puerto Rico for the women, he approached me and asked me if I wanted to help with the recruiting and potentially some coaching in that. So that's how I got initially involved with it.
Well, Peter, what level would they be at? I'm not sure the international structure.
So right now the team is comprised of a mix of players because again it's really in its infancy. So there's players that would have played NCAA Division 1 hockey. There's players that would have played NCAA Division 3, and then some club hockey and prep school players. It's all right now. It's very very fluid because they're gaining some traction now, and more players who are of Puerto Rican descent are hearing about this. The biggest thing is trying to find ways to get words out and reach those people because the individual that can play is someone who either is born in Puerto Rico, whose parents are born in Puerto Rico, whose grandparents are born in Puerto Rico. But a lot of these players, they have a parent who was born in Puerto Rico. Let's say it's a mom. Well, if she takes the maiden name of Mr. Smith, that's not a very Puerto Rican name. So it's hard to find the individuals. They are slowly finding Team Puerto Rico though, which has been good. Which is and because I coached a team in New Jersey a couple months back, and I believe I'm going down the end of August in something called the Latin American Cup, Latam Cup, Latin America Cup, where we'll play teams from Argentina, Colombia, and the Caribbean.
Now,
So
what
Mexico's not in that?
I'm sorry.
Is Mexico in that?
Uh, they are not in this tournament. No,
Okay.
that I saw. I'm talking on the women's side. I'm not sure who's on the men's side. I mean, I'm assuming we play everyone, and the three games I see are those teams. So
Yeah.
Peter, what pool is that? D, C, B?
it would be, I don't, as far as pool play goes, right? They're trying to get ranked to get into actual pool play. So it actually is. I don't believe, and I could be completely wrong, because this is new to me too, and I'm learning as I go. That that's the goal, is to be able to begin to get into pool play, because there's other pieces that go along with this too. Apparently, that the hosting country for that for the team has to have a rink built, and then they also have to play a certain number of games in that rink, tournament wise or year wise. They're trying to build it from the ground up. So right now it's kind of getting built from the outside in, if you will, right? Because there are not the number of players playing in Puerto Rico now, simply because they don't have the rinks to grow it. So they're starting to grow the grassroots in the country, in the hopes that moving forward there will be a large population of Puerto Rican skaters that have been developed, both men and women, to compete.
Peter, you mentioned uh, you had players playing Division 1 and 3.
Yes, Division NCAA Division 1 players and Division 3 players. Some players that are currently playing, some that are former players.
Okay.
How did they get funded, or is there funding?
Right now, they are funding themselves. That's why this is such a unique group. These are women that either they or their families, or I mean, I'm not sure if they do any fundraising on their own, but right now the money comes out of their own pocket, and they'll get an Airbnb, and they'll get a place that can sleep 10 people, and they'll put 10 people in one. And so it's a very unique and interesting group of people who want to be part of something that's right from the beginning, right from the start. Similar to, honestly, when I was at Post University and we started our program, they're the pioneers of the program. It's the same thing, right? They're making an investment in their situation, an actual financial investment, as well as time. There's training that we do. There's a team doctor set up for helping them. So it's very professionally set up. And right now they're working to get funding. But like anything, funding is always the most difficult part, I think.
Peter, I just wanted to mention Dean Holden. He is probably, of all the Sharks, the most experienced working with the International Ice Hockey Federation and doing exactly what you're talking about. He's been in many different countries around the world, but not in South America. But he recently returned from Dubai at an international conference on behalf of the IHF to initiate their hockey program. The IHF connection, to me, it seems like very important if you're going to progress much farther. And I'm not sure what USA Hockey role is with the IHF in terms of helping them achieve their goals. But when Peter gets on, when Dean comes on again in another one, we're going to have him talk about that, because, man, the game is not ours anymore. We used to think it was just Canada. Oh boy.
Well, it's kind of what everyone, I think, dreamed of, right? We have talked for years about expanding the game and finding different ways to do it. I don't know if it's true or not. Interestingly, I saw something come up on Instagram where it was on social media. Of course, it must be true that Gary Bettman is involved in talks to rekindle the Quebec Nordiques. So in Quebec. So I don't know if that's true or not too, but growing the game is what we always talk about. And I think this is just another facet of that, because, like I said, when I was in New Jersey, we played a team from Lebanon, we played a team from Egypt, we played a team from South Korea. It was again, countries that are certainly non-traditional hockey venues, but it's growing and there's excitement about it. And the fact that these individuals are taking money out of their own pockets to make this happen right now, as well as they're working, I know, with some corporate donations, hopefully somewhere down the road. But there's so many pieces, right? Because they're building, so they need to build a youth program because they want to feed that. Then they have a junior program already in place where ages 13 to 16, they'll be able to play in some tournaments. And then they have, again, two teams. Like right now, they've got a division, they're calling a Division 2 level team and Division 1 level team. And Division 1 level team is the team that would be representing Puerto Rico in the IIHF tournaments down the road. So that's the team that I'm involved with, trying to help build and support.
Peter and Tom, both of you, Tom was on earlier and talked about some of the adventures with the North Koreans. It's a different culture. Is Puerto Rico American? So
Yeah.
there's no
Yes, it's one of the U.S. provinces. Yes.
so there's no problem culturally of them adapting to that sport.
No, I mean the difference is it's not a sport that they have. I guess it would be like if I'll just pick a sport just because my wife is Irish. So it'd be just like if hurling decided hurling was going to come to the U.S. Right? They would have to do the same thing. They'd start hurling clubs, probably find people who were of that heritage, who have experienced it or have a parent that experienced it, and then they would try to grow that with camps, clinics for that age group, and build it. So like culturally, it's definitely a new sport to the country, not necessarily a new sport to the players involved, because obviously they're involved because two things, they have that Puerto Rican heritage, and they also, since they were children, most of them in the States, obviously, um, have the actual experience of playing the game of hockey. So the key is to try to get it going over in Puerto Rico, introduce to them what it is, how to play it, all those things that you do.
Peter, what are the challenges working with that team? Like
I'm
what
sorry, what are the what?
the challenges? What did you work on? Where are they at? Where do they need to go? I'm just talking about what you've got and not growing the program below you yet, but you have a team that's going to be competing.
Yeah, we have a team. This team is probably overall, with the addition of some players, probably stronger than the team that was in New Jersey. And I don't say there's any disrespect, because there's some good players who are in the Division 2 level team right now who want to get to this next level. So there's compete within in a positive way that's being created just by the volume of players that are showing interest. Now the challenges are that you don't practice on a regular basis, right? I mean, that's like with any team, like with any tournament team. The exciting thing is when they get together, it's quick, it's short, right? It's 5 days, I think, total tournament play. So there's a lot that happens very quickly. There's a lot of excitement, but you're also trying to get people onto the same page. And some may come from a team where maybe they always played a particular forecheck, and maybe we play a different forecheck. So as far as a technical aspect of it, it's really more the best way to coach this team that I've seen so far is honestly to let them play and don't criticize, but talk in a group, because that's the one thing that I think for the most part, I see a difference between women at that age level and men at that age level is they're receptive. They're receptive as a group because again, like this particular group, because this is not like a college team, right? Where you're practicing every day and you've got a whole different set of dynamics. This is a group of individuals who have actually all made the same choice as to represent a country that is part of their family heritage and pay for it themselves. So they're really on board and pretty much a sponge. Like they want to be coached. They want to be coached. So we let them play, and then we talk between periods. We talk before games. Hey, this is what works. This is what didn't work the last time. What do you think? Right? I think the best way to empower a player is to ask them what they think, because if you go back, Wally, right, to like back in the day, right, coaches, you never asked the player what they thought. You told them what to think, right?
Well, I'm curious.
He's joined us.
Puerto Rico's a state of the United States.
Protectorate, I think.
Does that make sense? How are they going to represent a state in the Olympics?
Well, they're not a state. They're a province, right? I'm gonna make sure
Isn't it protectorate?
yeah, I'm gonna make sure I use the right verbiage here. So I'm just looking some up real quick.
Hell's joined us, Hell's joined us, Wally. He's not there anymore, but he was.
He's waving
There he
his
is.
hand. He's probably at his desk. He said, just waved his hand hello.
Yeah,
Hell,
there he is.
So it's a
Morning, boys.
the way that it's defined is Puerto Rico is a Caribbean island in unincorporated U.S. territory. So it's a U.S. territory.
Okay.
So that's how they're part of the U.S. So I mean, being part of the U.S. is I think less part of the issue than as a territory. Hopefully, the U.S. can support in some fashion, but it's on them to create an actual hockey program, grassroots from the ground up. Is that your smoothie, Hal? Is that the morning smoothie?
Yeah,
My wife
that's my
does.
five servings of fruit every day and yogurt.
Yeah, my wife does the same thing. Makes me share it. I love it. It's great.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what Puerto Rico is to the U.S. I mean, it's good. Like I tell you what, it's a fun group that doesn't like to lose. That is pretty darn supportive of each other. You're just working to try to have different styles kind of mesh, and that's kind of the fun part about coaching is trying to find what the combination is, right? Like I don't want to put two offensive defensemen together because that means we got odd man rushes the other way all day long, right? So you have to define roles for them, and it's worked out pretty well. Like they're pretty receptive. Like if we talk to defensemen, because I ran the D the last tournament, and so listen, we got an offensive defenseman and we have a defensive defenseman. You have to know that when they go, where you got to be. Rotate back to the middle, head on a swivel, count five in front of you, all those things. And they're very receptive to that kind of thing. They seem like they really like to learn, and that's been for me one of the most fun parts about this so far.
Are these women?
Yeah, it's women, and and again they can be anywhere from 16 to 36, right? I mean,
Wow.
in international play, you got a range. So you're also dealing with different personality. You're dealing with adults. You're dealing with people in the heat of the battle that are in college right now, and then you're dealing with teenagers.
Jeez.
So there's a lot going on, but it's all good. I mean, it's really fun. It's really exciting.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. Do you practice ever?
So they'll practice before the tournament. They'll get a practice in before the tournament. And but you know, like a practice before a tournament, if it's one practice, you're going to be just trying to get your legs going,
Yeah.
and that. I mean, in between there, we do Zooms roughly once a week, so we'll talk a little bit about tactics, talk a little bit about maybe what we want to do in certain situations, uh, based on who we have as players. What's the best way to play, right? Because it might be very different from what the best way to play was on their college team.
Yeah.